Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and today it's time to have a little chat about audiobooks, specifically their narrators. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, audiobooks today. I am pretty much all in on audiobooks at the moment. Like 90% of what I consume in terms of my books is on audio, largely through Audible, an Audible subscription that I have, but from other places as well, library and things like that. And that's largely because despite having plenty of text-based books, both in physical editions and on ebook, my day job has essentially changed, and I'm reading a lot of text in the day, a lot of kind of scrutinizing of text for editing purposes. And so when I get to the evening, I don't have the eyes anymore to read text for long. I can basically do kind of about an hour some nights, that's about it. So I've shifted pretty much all over to audiobooks. If I can get something as an audiobook and it's got a decent narrator, then I'll go audiobooks. And I absolutely love them. I mean, I've listened to 116, I think I'm up to, 116 since 2020. When I started listening to audiobooks. But I definitely acknowledge that the enjoyment of an audiobook relies quite heavily on having at the very least, competent narrator. At their best, narrators can absolutely elevate the experience, even beyond what I'd get out of reading a particularly good book in physical or a text-based edition, basically. And adversely, they can kind of ruin an experience, really. I am definitely a proponent of, DNFing an audiobook early on if I'm not getting on with the narration. I do always listen to the samples for things, but if I buy something, or I pick something up out of the library or whatever, and I'm just not getting on with it within the first sort of half an hour to an hour in terms of the narration, then I will leave it alone and go and find the text-based version and read it. Because if it's a book I want to read, I still want to read it. I will go and find the text version. Because I don't want to ruin the book, what might be a great book, by persevering and kind of slogging my way through some poor audio. But today I want to just talk about some of my favourite listening experiences because of the narrators, I think. So these aren't necessarily my favourite books. Some of them are on my favourite books list, but this list is compiled mainly of just my favourite narrators, favourite performances, if you like. I enjoyed all of these books a lot that I'm going to talk about today, but as I said, they're not all my top 10 books, but they are definitely my favourite narrators. Focus on the power of a great performance. So then, to my list, these aren't in a kind of ranked order, but just in the order of kind of like the least amount of books I've listened to by that particular narrator up to the most amount of books. So the first 4 are narrators that I've only had one book from, only listened to one book that they've narrated, but have definitely made me want to go and check out lots of others that they've narrated. So first up then is Adjoa Andoh. She narrated Nights at the Circus by Angela Carter, which is on my top 10 books list, my top 10 novels list. But because it's an incredible book, it's an incredibly written book. The language in it is so rich and complex, and it's just so full of life. It's magic realism, and it is magical. And Adjoa Andoh's narration really, really made it a magical experience. I was totally lost in that book because of her. As I say, it's very over the top, it's very theatrical. And I think having someone who really can kind of do that without going over the top with it, who can really kind of get that theatricality in it and really kind of bring the characters to life, was like just made it all, you know, an extra level of brilliance. And she's narrated quite a few other things as well, so I will definitely be checking out some more from Adjoa Ando. She's narrated some Stuart Turton, I think the newest of his, quite a few classics, which I would be tempted to try if it's her narrating. And she's done Anne Leckie's Ancillary Justice, and the others in that particular series. Is it the Imperial Radash or something like that, the series? I will be reading Ancillary Justice for my science fiction reading project later this year, and I already have the audiobook for that, so I'm really looking forward to that, knowing that it's Adjoa Ando doing the narration. Okay, next up is Ray Porter, who narrated Project Hail Mary, which is absolutely on my top 10 books list. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a fantastic book. I love the book. I love the characters in it. I love the storyline. It's one of the books that got me into science fiction. But Ray Porter's narration is absolutely spot on. Again, someone else who really can just like really brings that character to life, really brings kind of a real grounding to that character, understands the humour, gets the comedy timing, the delivery, that kind of thing in it. It's become a kind of an absolute comfort read to me, that one, because of Ray Porter's narration, so a comfort listen, really. But yeah, Ray Porter's done a hell of a lot of other stuff again, and lots of science fiction. The Bobbyverse series by Dennis E. Taylor, which I think has got quite a lot of humour in it from what I hear. I can imagine him doing that well, because he does seem to do humour well. Lots of science fiction and action. He's done some Robert McCammon books as well, which is cool, and some Laird Barron, so some horror, and Peter Clines, things like that. So there is an absolute ton of Ray Porter narrations out there on Audible and the like. So I will definitely be trying some more stuff from him. Okay, the next one then is Steve Worsley, who narrated Cold Granite, which is the first book in the Logan McCrae crime series by Stuart McBride. Worsley is a Scot, which helps. But what I loved about his narration of Cold Granite, because Cold Granite is a dark, like, it's tarte noir, so it is very dark, gritty crime. It's set in Aberdeen, and Worsley really kind of got that sort of atmosphere, really helped create that atmosphere of the book. But what I loved about him was that there are characters in that who, whilst it's all Scottish, they come from different parts of Scotland. So you've got Aberdeen, you've also got Edinburgh, characters from Edinburgh, you've got characters from Glasgow, you've got characters coming in sort of from more rural areas. And Worsley could do the specific accents, Scottish accents, for each location. And that added so much flavour to it, because if I'd have just read that, and kind of heard it in my head, if you like, if I'd have read it by text, in text form, I would have imagined a Scottish accent as best I can. I'm not good with accents or doing accents. But it would have all just been the same accent. It'd be generic Scots. Whereas Worsley's ability to shift and change those accents accurately really helped with the character definition in the audio, things like that. He was really, really good at helping to create that sense of atmosphere that the book has a ton of. So yeah, he continues to narrate more of the Logan McCrae series. So I've got the next one in my collection ready to read when I want to. But he also does some more tarte noir stuff, which is great. So Chris Brookmeyer, who I've wanted to try for a while, Andrew James Gregg, one of his was nominated for one of the big sort of Scottish crime awards recently. And he's also done some steamy Scottish romance books by the looks of it, but those aren't high on my priority list to try. But he obviously does quite a lot of Scottish stuff. Which is great, and he, as I say, he's very good with the Scottish accents, regional accents there. Okay, the fourth one is a relatively recent listen, and that's Toby Longworth. And the one that I listened to was the first in the Eisenhorn series, which is Warhammer 40k. The book's called Xenos. He's done a lot of Warhammer and a ton of other science fiction as well, and some classics. So there's plenty of him to dip into. But he has done a lot of Warhammer and a lot of the Dan Abnett stuff. Dan Abnett wrote the one that I've just talked about, Xenos, the whole series. Yeah, again, just one who understands the universe, understands the characters, really helps to create the sense of environment, gets the humour, gets like the difference in tones, going from humour to kind of much more gritty, serious stuff. So gravitas. I mean, that particular book is about an inquisitor, part of the Inquisition, in 40k. And so there is a certain amount, he needs to have a certain amount of gravitas, but he also is a little bit of a, not renegade, but, he does things slightly differently sometimes. So, he needs to kind of have a bit of an edge. He's got to be a likable character. And yeah, I think like Toby Longworth really sort of got him right. And just the variation across the other characters as well, the accents, as I say, the character performances were cracking. Really got me into that universe, really sucked me in. So I'd definitely be listening to more from Toby Longworth. I've already got the other books in the Eisenhorn series in my library ready to go. Okay, on to some folks who I've listened to more than one thing from. So the first one is Rosamund Pike, who I've so far only listened to 2 books from. They were both Jane Austen books, Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility. Not the sort of things that I would ever dream of picking up in text form, because I struggle sometimes with reading that kind of language, sort of older language. But Rosamund Pike just does a fabulous job on these. The snark really comes through, but I don't need to have I don't need to kind of have a detachment like I would have if I was reading it in text form, where I'm essentially trying to understand the rhythm and the structure of the language before I can actually take the meaning from it and get the humour from it. That's just like, as I say, that's how I kind of struggle a little bit. When I say I struggle, it takes a lot of more analytical work in some respects for me to understand the writing, because of the age of it, the difference in language use. So when somebody else is doing that bit for me and I can just enjoy the content. Hello, Dee, you coming up? So yeah, when I can like when I don't have to do that bit of work, I've got someone else doing it for me essentially, and I can just enjoy the story, enjoy the humour. Then that's how I can access the classics essentially. And yeah, Rosamund Pike, fantastic. We'll definitely listen to anything else that she's done. Okay, next up, we've got Mel Hudson. I've read or listened to 3 from her, and they were all part of the same series. It's all the Children of Time series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. She's not done a huge amount other than that, actually. There's a few bits and pieces, but not a huge amount. But yeah, she was great. Again, understands the humour, really gets the kind of, especially in Children of Time, which has a certain, almost an Attenborough-esque kind of way of talking about the creatures on the planet that it's kind of largely set on. The evolution of those creatures. It's about the evolution of a society of creatures. The way that she kind of narrates that in that kind of sort of, as I say, Attenborough-esque sort of way is great. It's really sort of, it's got a sort of a subtle humour to it. But likewise, when it comes to the human characters, she does a great job with those as well. Accents and really distinguishes the characters really well. Okay, next up, number 7 we're up to, is Travis Baldree. and I've listened to 4 books by Baldry. His own 2, Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust, and then books 1 and 2 of Wasteland Warlords, which are kind of, it's a series of literary RPGs, lit RPGs. And I've forgotten the names of the authors. I know one's Eden Hudson, I think, or James Hudson and Eden Hunter, something like that. It'll be up on the screen. But yeah, he's got a wonderfully cozy kind of way of doing things. Not cozy as in like twee or anything like that, but he's just got a real warmth to his narration, and it works really well for that kind of book. Like, his stuff is cozy fantasy. Wasteland Warlords it's not cozy per se, but it's kind of, it's light-hearted. It's light-hearted and kind of warm stuff. And yeah, he's just perfect for those. And he's one of those narrators whose voice always just kind of calms me down. He's one which I always go to if I want just to chill out, just if I need to like chill out so I can sleep properly, if I've got a bit of insomnia, if I just, you know, needs a cozy distraction, or if I just want something on that is kind of feels familiar, like a friend in the room, that kind of thing. Travis Baldry is one that I will always go to. As I say, even if it's a sort of book which I'm not entirely sure about, like Wasteland Warlords #1, I wasn't entirely sure about whether I'd like it or not. But I saw Travis Baldry's name on the narration and went, well, I'll give it a go then. And it's a cracking little series. It's a really fun series. But yeah, so he's definitely kind of, you know, one that will entice me into other books. Next one is David Thorpe. I've got 4 books that I've had his narration on. 3 are the Tyrant Philosophers trilogy by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and the other one is Cage of Souls, also by Adrian Tchaikovsky. He's quite theatrical. He can be a little over the top sometimes, but it always works for me. There's a certain, when it's over the top, it's amusingly so. It's not irritatingly so, and he never does it in the wrong place. That's the main thing. In the book, he has this, in a similar way that Tchaikovsky can go, you know, almost, you know, turn on a sixpence from humour to sort of really serious stuff, or vice versa. Thorpe can really capture that in his narration. And what I loved about his stuff, his narration for the Tyrant Philosopher series particularly, but it also comes in with Cage of Souls, is his use of accents for the different factions, different characters. It really helped, especially in the first Tyrant Philosophers book, which is massively multi-POV. That I think I might have found more discombobulating reading it in text form, figuring out who was who and what was what and how they all connected, who belonged to what group, etc. I would have found that like more difficult to follow, I think, had it not been for David Thorpe's accents, which immediately ties people together through their you know, origins, their nationalities, if you like, or their class, for instance. That really helps, kind of makes the book more relatable. You know, I can tap into it easier. But yeah, David Thorpe, absolutely fantastic. A real like storyteller kind of narrator. Okay, number 9 is Will Patton, who I've had 6 books from, all of which are Stephen King books. So the Bill Hodges trilogy, The Outsider, If It Bleeds, and also Doctor Sleep. So, you know, Bill Hodges, The Outsider, and If It Bleeds are all kind of connected, obviously. They're all kind of Holly Gibney stuff. Like If It Bleeds is a collection of novellas, but it has its main one is a Holly Gibney story in there. And yeah, then Doctor Sleep is obviously not part of that kind of grouping of books. Yeah, it's quite a, what's the right word? It's quite a subtle narration. It's quite downplayed in some ways. There's a darkness to his delivery. There's a a particular way that he narrates that I just really enjoy. I mean, like when the newest of the Holly Gibney books came out, which was Holly, a couple of years ago, it wasn't him narrating it, and I was like, oh no, am I going to really struggle with this? Because it's not who I'm used to. It's not the Holly Gibney that I've got in my head from the Will Patton's narration. But actually, to be fair to the narrator, it was a female narrator, and I forget who it was. I will pop it up on screen. She was cracking. She was great. So it didn't make any difference to my enjoyment of a Holly Gibney book. But yeah, I really enjoyed Will Patton. There's kind of a softness to it, or an understatedness to his narration that really works, particularly for those stories for me. And then we've got Scott Brick, finally, my 10th. Another 6 books from him. He has narrated hundreds, I think. I've listened to all 3 of the Passage trilogy are narrated by him. The Ferryman, also Justin Cronin. Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, and Pacific Vortex by Clive Cussler. Yeah, Scott Brick, really understated again. Like he's just a good reader of stuff. I think that's the thing. He doesn't go over the top with characters. He doesn't do a huge amount of like theatrical kind of voice variation like somebody like David Thorpe does. He's a really good, solid narrator. He is definitely kind of good for all seasons. He's one of those that generally I know that if he's narrating, I'll be fine. As I say, he's not theatrical. It's not a performance from him like it is with, say, David Thorpe, or kind of somebody like Toby Longworth. Or Ray Porter, Adjoa Ando. It's not performance stuff. It's definitely narration, but it's really good, solid, clear narration. And yeah, I really value him as being just somebody who's solid. I know I've got a solid experience coming if it's Scott Brick. So there we go. Those are 10 of my favourite audiobook experiences because of the narrator. Favourite narrators. There you go. So yeah, I've been very lucky with audiobooks generally. I've only had a handful, maybe sort of, between 5 and 10 in the past, where I've started something and then gone, oh no, can't listen to this, and had to kind of, tap out, DNF the audiobook and go and find the text-based version, the ebook or the physical book. But yeah, it's been a handful. So I can't complain, really. That's why I keep going back for more, because I do value them hugely. So yeah, but that will do from me today. Thank you very much for watching, folks, as always. Do let me know in the comments if you are a fan of audiobooks. Do let me know some of your favourite narrators or favourite kind of performances of particular books, things like that. I'm always on the lookout for new cracking narrators. Because it has helped me get into some books, as I say, that like with Rosamund Pike and the Jane Austen books, it's helped me get into stuff that I wouldn't have gone near as a physical or digital text-based form, or just try something completely new, because I'm just gonna get a great story told to me. I love having stories told to me. So yeah, do let me know your recommendations for cracking narrators, performances, etc. In the comments below. I will be back soon with another video for you, so I do hope you'll join me for that, whenever that might be. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.